Working as a faculty for more than 5 years in State Bank of India. Welcome, madam, onto the stage. So we have with us three eminent speakers, moderated by Ms. Artika. And now the floor is all for you, ma'am.
Good afternoon, everyone. The topic for our Fireside chat today is collaborative training initiatives. So that we are on the same page and we know that what we are talking about, I just have one slide to show to you. So when we are talking about collaborative training initiatives, we are saying two things, intra-organization initiatives and inter-organization initiatives. So when we are talking about intra-organization, we see departments, functions coming together, co-creating content and for delivering greater learning value. An example of this may be the onboarding programs that happen in public sector banks. So we have very comprehensive week-long onboarding program for POs in the bank where different departments come together and actually create and deliver content to the people who are joining in. Similarly, when we talk about inter-organization, collaborative programs, we see peer banks, financial services sector organizations coming together, and also, external training providers coming together and collaborating. Such examples can be seen from SBI calling peer banks, public sector banks, and RBI doing these trainings for peer banks so that they can take it further for training financial literacy for RUSU segment. So there are certain examples which are already there and we are going to build on to that. We are just going to see that this entire growth is not a solo race, it is a relay, and that's how we are going to also learn about from our esteemed guests over here. We can just... So let's deep dive into the agenda and see how collaboration can be a game changer. And while all public sector banks and all financial institutions are doing great independently, we are going to see how we can collaborate and act as a catalyst to unlock greater potential. By sharing our resources, expertise and insights, we can see how we can address industry-wide challenges more effectively in a rapidly changing environment. While we are going to talk about all of this, we are also going to see the role of leadership and culture in fostering partnerships, diverse perspectives, and see how we can utilize all the strategies and all the things that the previous panel talked about into real-world scenario while collaborating with each other. This program, Ignite 2025, is a perfect starting point for this, to explore new ideas and build meaningful collaborations. It is designed to bring together the diverse perspectives that we all have and lay the groundwork for progress. So as you listen to our panelists today, I encourage you to all think about how these insights can be applied in your organizations and between the organizations, inter-organizations, so that we can make the entire learning domain more effective and collaborative. Now, the panelists today, they bring about a wealth of experience across diverse domains, and we will examine this topic through three distinct yet interconnected lenses. We have Dr. C. Jayakumar with us, who is the Executive VP and CHRO at L&T Limited. L&T Limited, known as a multinational conglomerate with diversified businesses across manufacturing, infrastructure, IT, and financial services. He brings about with him more than 37 years of experience, and with this, his experience in HR, we are going to see how HR and L&D works at large and complex organizations. Next up, we have Dr. Abhinash Panda. who is the professor of organizational behavior at MDI Gurgaon. Before this, he has also worked as faculty at IM Kashipur. He has also been the AVP at L&D at Adani Enterprises, and he brings about rich experience and understanding about cultural and behavior dynamics critical for collaboration. Dr. Bindu K. Nambiar, Head of Leadership Academy at Union Bank of India, has a unique blend of corporate and academic experience with more than 2 decades, around 24 years of experience in teaching, consulting, and corporate training. She will bring in the sector-specific expertise required for this discussion, for developing deep understanding on public sector banking context in collaboration. So I will start the discussion, start the fireside chat with Dr. Panda. Dr. Panda, from an organizational behavior perspective, how does fostering collaboration enhance the effectiveness of training programs and drive organizational learning?
Good afternoon, everyone. Before I respond to that questions, let me express my sincere gratitude to the organizing committee here, because it has been a learning experience for me. Because I will be speaking for less than 30 minutes, but I have heard different perspectives for more than a day. So that is a great learning experience from me. Coming back to the question you have asked, definitely yes. And being a professor in teaching, I can give you evidence. Johnson and et al., there are 3 researchers who did a meta-analysis of 50 studies across 50 years, starting from 1960s to 2020, and they found that individuals who go through collaborative learning or cooperative learning develop individual competencies better than in a competitive environment. Competitive environment essentially creates win-lose situation. A collaborative environment creates win-win situation. That is first take. So there is an empirical evidence to prove that collaborative or cooperative learning leads to development of competencies. Second thing, I must express this one before I answer those questions. I make a huge distinction between training and learning. You can train so many people where trainees may not learn anything. At the end of the day, your focus is learning, making participants learn, not to give training. So the whole purpose is to make and ensure learning. So my response to those questions will be from collaborative learning standpoint. Third thing is, throughout the day, yesterday and in the morning, I said, I realized many people are talking about contextualizing learning, and somebody said that what has happened in Google cannot be applied in Union Bank of India. There is a theoretical basis to it. Knowledge is never imparted, knowledge is constructed. Who constructs that knowledge? We construct those knowledge. How do we do that? Collectively. And learning happens through reflection, not absorption. So when you are collectively reflecting on the information you have, you are essentially creating right knowledge which is meaningful to your context and to you. If you don't find anything meaningful and relevant to you, you will discard those information. You won't accept that. So learning is always an outcome of reflective process. That's why Chris Argyris and Sean have said that it is basically the practitioners should not be the only implementer. They should be reflective practitioners. Unless otherwise you don't reflect, you won't learn. Look at the situation. There are 2 examples I'll give. These are our theoretical basis. When there was a crisis in a mine in Chile, the team which were formed to rescue the team from multiple disciplines, okay, they did not know how to rescue them. They did not have a solution. They did not have the expertise. How did they develop the expertise? They went on experimenting, exploring, collaboratively, took feedback and all those things. And after they were rescued. Back home, during the COVID time in Mumbai, there was a task force of doctors. What they were doing? They were issuing treatment protocol on the basis of symptoms to say that this medicine is not working, that medicine is not working, taking feedback. were they doing that? Because there are specialists in different fields. They were looking at the implications and impact on those medicines in different parts of human bodies. From there they developed those things. Finally, you ended up with cocktail, right? Cocktail of medicines. So when you have new problems which are coming on a daily basis, then you don't have an expertise. How do you solve those things? They call it collective intelligence. You need to use collective intelligence rather than your expertise. And interestingly, what I observed, your experience not only will be irrelevant, your experience could be a liability for finding a solution. Because you'll always go by the precedent. This has worked in the past. This has helped me in the past. Why should not I try that? There will be an escalation of commitment. That won't help when you are doing things. And how banking industry will apply those things? Look at it. We are talking of Gen AI, and all those things. But do we know how it will manifest tomorrow? Dr. Pandey yesterday was mentioning the problems are so complex that we don't have solution. So how you will get those solutions? What will be the customer expectations of Gen Z or internet generation or post-internet generation? They are saying that in 2025 who are born, they will be Gen Beta. So how you will curate products? How you will assess risk? How you will mitigate those risks? So you don't have a solution. So how do you find those things? You have to discuss. You have to brainstorm. So if you believe that we have the solution, you are deceiving yourself. It is essentially self-deception. The moment you are deceiving ourselves, you are going down the garden track. So essentially what I'm saying, collaborative learning essentially helps you to experiment, explore, take feedback, tweak the solution, and move towards perfections. You are a better version of what you were yesterday. May not be the perfect one, but you are going towards that. Thank you so much. I did not take much time, right?
Yeah. Thank you for bringing in that theoretical perspective and also giving practical examples around it. So I will quickly jump to the next question for Dr. Jaykumar. Sir, you come from L&T, which has across diverse teams and functions. It's a large and complex organization, right? So how do you actually deal with training effectiveness and collaboration at your organization?
Good afternoon. First of all, thank you very much for giving this opportunity to be here. And I've been attending various webinars, various conferences, etc. First time I'm getting opportunity to attend a panel, collaboration in training. Okay, though we do a lot of collaboration, we never thought through that lens. So I was thinking, what is this topic? Then when I went into, we are doing this, we are doing this, we are doing this. So it was a very nice topic to select. And then you being in here, I thought, okay, since many bank people are representing, this will be a very ideal topic. Let me give a quick background about, though people may know about L&T, we are into broadly EPC, engineering, procurement and construction. Whatever traffic jam created is all because of us. We do road, bridges, everything we stop. Next is into high-tech manufacturing. It's like nuclear reactors, Chandrayaan, defense, and high-end manufacturing. And we are into services, IT, and many new businesses like supply chain and finance. We have a portal typical to Amazon for engineering goods. We are into L&T EduTech, which is into education for engineering and above. Then we went into data centers now. We are into manufacturing of electrolyzers, green hydrogen, into manufacturing of semiconductors. Very recently, we have office in Bangalore now. So, varied business. So, when you come to training part of it, then you can break it into one is leadership training and succession planning for all these businesses to take people up. Next, it is a behavioral training, functional training, finance, accounts, legal, these areas, it is a functional training. Then very differently, and project management, which is since we are into EPC, we have a project management is a big area to look at. Then into technical, very clear technical training. We have multiple institutes also. We have a project management institute, typically like a college it is. We have a dean, deputy dean, then we have a professor, associate professor, professor of practice, that is. Then for technical training, we have at CTM, Mad, Mysore, we have different. Why I'm telling is we have different areas to focus on that. But definitely there are overlaps. Okay, if I am doing a project management training for a, definitely there will be some amount of behavioral thing coming in. Certain things are functional. So, lot of, though we have a clear line, certain things we started making it common. So that is predominantly to see that there is no duplication of effort. For example, why the same behavioral facility in a program in project management, why the same it's on communication or team working or interpersonal comes in, why they should again design, develop and roll out those programs. So there's a very, very clear vertical part of it. Then the best thing what comes is a single system, single source of truth. So entire thing is in one single system across the organization, so that even the next, each of the, even in the L&T we have different companies. There are 23 companies, independent companies, which is the CEO is the IC head, then we have a CHRO, then below that there is a learning and development, recruitment, etc. So plus when you have a system, very quickly they can understand which are the programs available, what is the content covered, who is the faculty, whether we are agreement with those agencies, so they do not duplicate these efforts. Plus we also have a learning council where all the L&D heads meet once in a quarter to discuss about their challenges, new things they have done. So a lot of sharing happens between the organization. So that we ensure that we leverage the synergy and this gives the scale, reduces the cost, bring in more efficiency, and people who are expert in that area can focus on those areas. So it has given a lot of benefit to our organization.
Thank you for setting the stage and actually giving very exceptional example of L&T, how they are collaborating for training. That's great. I will ask now Dr. Bindu. Dr. Bindu, as the head of Leadership Academy, Learning Academy at Union Bank of India, how do you see collaboration playing a role and developing future leaders in the organization?
Thank you for that question. And it's interesting to find that I could actually resonate with what Professor Panda and Dr. Jaykumar was talking about their expertise, because we find that the programs or the way in which we run our Leadership Academy is so aligned with what other corporates are doing. For instance, we have a program called Advait, yeah, which is like Dr. Jaykumar was mentioning, that we are going to look at leadership in one way, and then we are going to look at functional expertise or technical expertise in another way. So this program, and I'm going back, I'm saying the twofold approach that we have. This program is only to build the leadership mindset. And interestingly, what Professor Tambe was talking about, that the Aristotle project, we have actually gone one step higher, meaning we started off with the first, which is on the Conclave 1, which is on talking about how to master self, and then the Conclave 2, which is on how to master a team, like the Aristotle project. And now we are, the forthcoming is how to master in an organizational setup. So this is how we are looking at leadership in our bank. And there's another thing which I want to bring forth here is that all the programs, okay, now this is the second one which I'm talking about, all the programs that we are running or rolling out in our Leadership Academy or in other union learning academies, we are collaborating within ourselves. What I meant by that is that, for example, if there is a ULA, just like how we have ATI at SBI, the ULA at Union Bank, what is done is we are training people on rural and FI leadership. or credit leadership. Like one of the programs which you're going to see in the gallery, there is something called as Agile, which is for the people who belong to the Department of IT, and we are training them on inculcating the leadership trait, meaning an IT team building leadership. So there is an internal collaboration also happening within our training system as well. And the third aspect which I want to highlight is that in all the meetings that we have, we ensure that the enabler which we have been talking about, in fact the earlier panel was entirely on the AI and the IT, we also ensure that we have a digital team always with us, foreseeing, overlooking the kind of work that we are putting in place in training. Why do we do that? Because they are the ones who need to implement, because they have got another way of visualizing things. So the input that we get from the digital team definitely helps us in bringing out better programs. So this is how internally we collaborate within ourselves. Yeah.
Great, thanks for giving those examples. Now I will quickly change tracks to intra-bank training context, and we can see sometimes across departments and hierarchies can, there can be some resistance in collaboration. So from a cultural or structural silos perspective, how do you see, training heads employing collaboration to for mutual learning and mutual openness to learning? I'm asking Dr. Panda, yes.
So let me give you the broader context. Organization is not a natural entity. It is a created one. Second thing, we must understand the people from where they are coming. We must understand the socio-cultural context. What I am going to tell you, we all know from our experience, but studies have indicated that we Indians, we develop our identity on social basis. That is called social identity theory. So we will identify ourselves with people who are from the same region, same village, or speaking the same language, or something like that. That has been established by a psychoanalyst called Ronald, who said Indians have familial jati self. So, and there is another study which has indicated, though we try to build team and work in team, working in a team does not come naturally to us. It only comes naturally to us in family settings. अगर घर में किसी का शादी हो रहा है, you can always collaborate and all those things. But in organizational context, it requires lot of effort of the leaders to create and function a seamless team to deliver result. So essentially what I'm saying, we are up against ourselves. Okay, so we have been groomed that way, but whether this will work or not, we'll only know when we'll explore and experiment these things. So if you want to experiment those things, what we need to do, so first of all, you need to create a psychologically safe environment, which is an idea given by Amy Edmondson of Harvard Business School. They say there are 4 levels. First level is being included. I feel I'm included, but I can't raise question. If I can raise questions, that means I'm learning. The first signal you get, if people are asking questions, means they are reflecting and learning something. Third level is, are they contributing? So if they really feel included, they will start contributing. Fourth level is basically, they can challenge the system. When they are very comfortable with the system, they will start challenging, and when you are adapting to the new reality, you can challenge the status quo. So how to do that? See, this morning somebody was mentioning lunch and learn. So over lunch you can share. There is a company called Danone, you must be knowing. They used to share knowledge in a concept called marketplace, where people from different business units will come and share those knowledge and all those things. So if you want to do that in banking context, we need to create those platforms. This is one of the great platforms to share knowledge. It should happen more often. There should be cross-functional team where If it is psychological self, they can challenge you, they can challenge status quo and work on it. So we need to, structure and culture goes against each other. Both go against each other. Because structurally, if your boundaries are very strong, culturally you can't have seamless integration. So it has to be porous. I'm not talking of boundaryless organization, it has to be porous so that whenever I feel the need, I can walk across and talk to the other person directly instead of sending emails and all those things. If you see any high-tech companies, they have open offices, right? Why? It is by design. Anthropologically, it has come from Bushman community which operates in Kalahari Desert. At the end of the day, there is hunting, they will celebrate around that bushfire and celebrate the success and share those learnings. Startups do all these things. All those companies who are innovative but big create small teams and interact with each other. So that's what it is. And if you are asking me what training managers should do, it is not with the training managers to create a psychological safe environment. It has to come from the top. The top management must create a psychologically safe environment where exploring, learning, as well as performance are equally matched. I can't be so much obsessed with performance so that learning is compromised. I must not so obsessed with development that the performance is compromised. So employees must be accountable for performance as well as their own development. I hope.
Yeah. Dr. Panda gave very relatable and real examples. I understand collaboration often requires aligning different priorities and cultures. So based on your experience, Dr. Jaikumar, how can organizations design training programs that promote shared goals and mutual learning?
I'm not getting into how to design a program. You would let us touch into the cultural aspect of it in a large organization. As I said, each we have independent companies, 23 independent companies, then other listed entities, and each has got a CHRO which was equally 25-30 years of experience who has gone through the entire. So each one has got an identity. He feels that I can design, develop and roll out a program, right? So how do you bring it together? For example, let me take each of these steps. For example, for leadership, we have a competency framework. Okay, when you're designing, always we get into one is a task force methodology. Take some 5-6 people from each of the ICs, form a task force, and look at the competency, even right from developing the competency model, because each one feels involvement and getting into that, right? You would have noticed, I have seen in my own organization, you would have designed, developed and rolled out a very nice program for a particular. Maybe it can be a personal excellence program or something. You have different names. So we call for a nomination from corporate HR. So different companies, people come and attend. And out of that, somebody will say, if the program is extremely good, naturally the feedback goes to the learning and development head. So immediately he gets very curious. What is the program? What is the content? Who is the faculty? So immediately they will contact the faculty. And the personal excellence will become excellence for personal people. It will be just little re-christened, and they will, because it is a pressure of, we are rolling out something in our organization. So once you bet a collaborative approach, getting them involved in right from every aspect, it brings a ownership, and it is very easy to move across. So same way we have a designing of very core leadership development programs or some type. Everywhere we get into a, so two ways it is good. One, it is two heads are always better than one. So I get a different perspective. They know their business well. So what is the type of tweaking to be required for their business, it can be done. And when we have a common model, it becomes synergy, the cost efficiency, running of the thing, all those things happens. So we use an approach of a collaborative approach, getting everybody's perspective, and we take the consensus method to move forward. That's how we do.
Sure.
Is that you want to do?
Yeah, thanks for giving the real L&T example. Dr. Bindu, if we see and talk about public sector banks, how do you see where are the opportunities for greater collaboration in training initiatives, or I must say learning initiatives, and what areas could benefit most from such efforts?
So I see this question in two ways. One is the first question where you're asking, where are the, how do you look at the public sector collaboration? I think if this question was asked a day before yesterday, I would have given a different answer. But today, being amidst all or most of the banks that's seated here and all the CHROs and the L&D heads, having all of us working towards a single goal, the central theme, how do we transform banking? We are not saying how do we transform banks, we're saying how do we transform banking. I think this, it's like the Chinese adage, which says, tell me and I will forget, and show me, I might remember, and involve me, right? I will that experience which we all are getting when all of us are sitting together and listening and consciously actually giving ourselves into this initiative is itself is an evidence that it's possible. Now, coming to the second question, we say, where are the opportunities? Now, I would like to bring two aspects here. One is, look at it, yeah? We have the GDP of US, which is more than 8 times of India. We have the budget of NASA, which is incomparable with the budget of ISRO. Aren't they collaborating? The cost advantage that NASA has and the efficiency advantage that ISRO has, they have decided to come together and take advantage of their collaboration. So I think this is something that we need to be working on, where there are so many possibilities. The question of opportunities. Opportunities like what? Opportunities like why do we run a business? The business is always considered to be the force for good. And the goodness here is what? Let's look at it. Cyber risk. Aren't our customers facing that? Or let's say sustainability. Can we as individual banks sustain? I mean, that's oxymoronic. Yeah, when we say sustainability, the entire industry has to sustain, only then I would sustain. So how about looking at it in a different way? How about looking at 2047, where we are saying we are in this mission of making India a developed economy, or making India one of the top 3 economies of the world? How are we going to work towards that collaboratively, collectively, together as an industry? And we not competing but with each other, but looking at a global landscape, as in where are we standing there? How are we going to create that goodwill on our industry so that we will be able to compete in that kind of an ecosystem? So I guess that's the bigger opportunity that we have together, all of us seated here, to look at this maiden initiative that we have come with and exploring more and more opportunities among public sector and private sector and the financial, the training institutions that have come together, and see what we can do. This is just the beginning. This is just an initiative which has just taken, it's like a baby, like Jayaraman was talking about. It's just a baby. We got to feed it, we got to guide it, and we got to ensure that we come with the right outcomes.
Let me add. See, I find lot of opportunity in this, okay? Though I'll share my own example in L&T, though we look at totally different, right? EPC is different, manufacturing is different, services is different. When you look at leadership competencies, it doesn't change much at what particular level when you look at strategic thinking, whether I'm in EPC, whether I'm manufacturing, whether this, customer focus, result orientation, people orientation. So a lot of things is at that level it's common. So though each one of the IC is a company by itself, why to reinvent this and look at it? Plus, today if I look at many of our leaders, the networking within the organization, if I know somebody is a chief executive of one of the companies within the L&T, the other fellow will say, I know him because we did the MDP together. We did the leadership development together. 1 week, 10 days they were together. That is where the bonding happened, the networking happens. Plus sharing of different perspective, totally. If different, for example, if different banks are coming together and having a program for 25 of your leaders, total different perspective will come as compared to the one bank conducting. It has a whole lot of areas, synergies available, but what are the other process procedures you have to overcome that you have to see.
If I can take a minute more, I agree with what Jay Kumar sir had said. The reason why I say that is I want to this is the stage where there is no precedence, okay? I don't know where to look back and see, what do I do next? So I would like to bring an example from another industry, which is apparel industry, where there is a company, there is a concept called B Corp, where companies come together, they sign a deed, there are some 250 questions which they answer, and they sign a contract where they say that we are going ahead, we are committed to a greater good. Now, this particular case study which I'm going to talk about is about a company called Patagonia, which signed the B Corp, and they looked at how do we collaborate upstream and downstream. They looked at okay, what are we trying to sell here? We're selling jackets, we're selling apparel, and we're selling to customers. And in this industry of apparel, if I have to manufacture something, it consumes close to 92 million liters of water. And they said, we want to conserve that. How do we do that? We tell customers, don't buy us. If you have if the jacket is rugged, if you feel that the jacket is worn out, if you feel that you want to throw it away, please don't throw it away. Give it back to us. We will give you another one, or give it back to us. We might sell it across. We will do something. We will come with another jacket with it. So you have companies who are working, who are collaborating even with customers this way, saying, no, all right, don't do it. We'll help you what to do with it. Now, the second one is the upstream concept. The upstream, they've realized that in the industry, there are 300 million women who are working, who are working in very difficult situations like the dim lights and sewing and buttoning up and all of that. So what they did is they came with this idea that we want to help these women, we want to give them the right kind of infrastructure, we want to take care of their wages, so that going the upstream, we're saying, so that particular stakeholder is also happy with working in this industry. So now is the time that we got to be collectively looking at this greater good, upstream and downstream, and coming with solutions that can help build this reputation. Now, another aspect which I want to bring here is, one of the questions when I was speaking about this conclave to a guest was, do you think it'll work? Do you think that you all are competing, you have the same market, right? People poach, right? How do you find that situation? I said, yeah, you take mine, I take yours, but ultimately we get benefited. All of us collectively had to get benefited. So the talent needs to get developed. We don't want our people to go to US. We want them to be here, and we want them to work in our industry. So we got to be looking at banking on the whole now, and how we try to look at solutions, the solutions of learning hours, which yesterday Madam Nuzat was talking about. Let's see how we can find solutions for that collectively. So this is something which are the opportunities in front of us, which we can find solutions for.
Beautiful insights on the table already. This brings me to my next question to Dr. Panda. Dr. Panda, how can banks, when we see interbank collaboration, how can we balance collaboration and competition? What do you think about it?
This is a question which logic cannot answer, okay? Why should I train somebody for my competition? Why should I share knowledge with my competitor who can take advantage of the situation? So, I don't have an answer, but people have made it work. I can give you 2-3 examples. You might have known about NHRDN, National HRD Network. The genesis of this network was this. You know Professor T.V. Rao? At that point of time, he was, along with late Uday Parikh, they were discussing how to bring HR fraternity together when they are not ready to collaborate and when they are competing. So there was a debate at one point of time. Then they said the original idea of NHRDN was that making others learn from each other. one should learn from each other. We are there to provide the platform. That is NHRD. Network kahan se aaya? The idea of network was given by an electrical engineer. He said electricity flows from high voltage to low voltage. So the person, the company who has got the expertise should share that, and others should lap it up. That's how NHRD was born. I can give you another example. Pan IIM, Pan IIT forum. IIMs and IITs compete with each other to get the best students, best faculty. So Ministry of HRD said, in the domain of research and creating knowledge, you can't compete. They created Pan IIM conference. There is a conference that happens every 2 years. And there we share knowledge, we are recognized, we get reward. So it is basically, we are competing in all spaces, but in research and publication, knowledge creation, we are not competing. That is the idea of Pan IIT also. Third thing I'll tell you about the national experience. When Japan was savaged post World War II, how did they revive? Banks played an important role under the guidance of MITI. And there is a concept called Dai-ichi Nippon, Japan becoming number one. How to do that? MITI decided that I need to create platform of companies of the same industry. They used to meet every week in an informal setting. They used to share information. What progress. So they did not have to reinvent the wheel, start from the scratch. Banks had all the information, inside information of the companies, but it is a trust-based society. So they did not reveal anything to anything. So they only shared relevant knowledge to build on each other's. That is collaboration essentially. I need to build on each other's ideas to, so the idea is quite similar to Viksit Bharat. That is aspirational. See, this aspirational goal has the power of bringing everybody together. And the advantage we have this, we are a collectivist society. Our moral standards is higher than individualistic society. So we can come together if we buy in those ideas. Third, another idea is that Ministry of Finance can give the diktat the way it is given to education, IIMs and all those things, formalize this forum and share knowledge. Another way is basically, yesterday I realized that the SBI is doing training to other things, IDBI is doing those things. I did not know that, so I have revised that point. Right now, SBI is expert in certain thing. Think of a situation, the other bank is expert in certain thing. They are not sharing that. It has to be two-way process. So in that sense, you need to identify a problem like wicket problem they call it in bureaucracy, or monkey problem they call it, where you don't know what the problem is, you see the manifestations. Because you don't know the problem, you don't have a solution. So what you are doing is basically, what is the impact of AI on customers' expectations? Let's say 10 years down the line, 5 years down the line, what will happen to the risk assessment process? Risk, if you can't assess the risk, you can't manage it also. So how to assess and manage those risks? These are the areas where you need collaborative and collective intelligence. And that is a fertile ground for collaboration. So that's how I look at it, and that's it.
Thank you. So Dr. Panda has given examples from the industry, from around the industries. Dr. Bindu, from your perspective, how can public sector banks, create a common culture of collaboration while addressing some common challenges and build a collective expertise?
I think I had touched upon those aspects, yet I want to give it a foundation here that, see, if you look at the theory of organizational growth, yeah, this was a concept which was developed by Professor Grainer. He says that organizations grow on 4 stages. Well, he started in 1978. He said organization grow basis 4 stages. It starts with the growth of creativity, growth of delegation, growth of coordination, like that. So he has given some couple of stages like that. Then he says that when organizations mature, meaning I'm talking about organizations like ours, which have reached, which are about to reach the stage of maturity, that the only way in which the organizations can grow, because internally enough has been done, now they got to be looking outside, and that's where the growth via coordination or collaboration comes, and that's seeking outside. Right? So that's where even Union Bank, we have collaborated with BCG. You know, the Advait program that we are talking about, we have collaborated with BCG. Our talent, the faculty, our talent is getting developed by education institutions, the top business schools in India, IIMs. We also have collaborated with other business schools where our employees are also getting trained. So we have now reached that stage where the growth can happen with collaboration alone. And going back to your question, where are all the common areas? Yesterday, one aspect which everybody, each one of us came to a consensus was, what do we do with the Gen X? What do we do with the Gen Alpha, which is going to come? Did you see that all of us have similar problems? And that could be addressed, like the Patagonia example which I was talking about, where they were trying to conserve water. Entire industry was looking at 92 million tons of water being used. So cyber security, right? Or what do we do with the current talent which is joining us? And we want them to be engaged. This is something which is perennial. This is something which is there across banks. And that's where we need to be working on together. And probably, if it's possible, that could be the future themes for our conferences next.
Thank you. Dr. Jaykumar, building on Dr. Panda's and Dr. Bindu's response on balancing competition, addressing challenges, could you share an example from your experience where collaboration significantly improved the outcomes for training?
Yeah, I can talk about many internal examples. We have a program with 2 of the IITs and 2 NITs together, IIT Delhi, IIT Chennai, and NIT Surathkal and NIT Trichy, doing a same program. In 4, same syllabus is same, everything is same. That is one side. And the engineers going project management is civil, mechanical, electrical. They are totally a different type of discipline, different type of projects. But it's the more than 25 years now it is happening. We have a tie-up with programs for all the companies together, including my IT companies. Same way we have a 7-step leadership development program. We have a tie-up with initially at the first level we have a tie-up with IIM Ahmedabad as well as with SP Jain. SP Jain is the 100th batch it is happening today. Again, one more thing I will tell you, there are 2 programs. One is IIM Ahmedabad and SP Jain. In that, both are equally branded, but all wanted to go to SP Jain because in IIM it is whole L&T people will go. From different companies will go, but all are L&T. In SP Jain, they will take common selection process, and out of that some people will be in L&T. They prefer, they can meet the other people from other companies. So there is, if I give an option, people try to take SP Jain program. So the same as the 7-step leadership program, which we do that. Which has, as I earlier said, led to a lot of synergy, cost reduction, continuous improvement can be possible, and all those things. Many examples are there. SP Jain, Build India Scholarship. You talk about my digital platform. Earlier, each of the companies were having. Then the L&T construction, we had L&T had separate, Mindtree had separate. That is LTM, Mindtree, LTTS. Now we have brought everything together. So even Coursera was here. So when the agreement was together across the company, drastically our rates came down. One more area of collaboration I'll tell you, we have a EduTech platform on technical learning. A lot of courses are there, which is the organization, other organizations are the customers. Coursera also we are using. I thought both are competitors. When I spoke to them, immediately they said, why can't you host your course in our platform? So L&T EduTech courses are posted in Coursera platform. So today is the world of collaboration. So how much maximum possible leverage synergy, leverage scale, and try to reduce cost, improve productivity, etc.
Great. Great for giving those insights. I would actually love to go to the sustainable track that Dr. Bindu already touched upon. So, Dr. Panda, how do you see behavioral science principles supporting the long-term success of collaborative training programs?
When we talk of collaboration, we must understand connectivism also. And in the era of artificial intelligence, what has gone up is basically self-learning. And there is a new word that has come up instead of pedagogy and andragogy is heutagogy. Heutagogy essentially says, I'll decide what I want to learn, keeping my career aspiration. Organizations needs to provide me that. So I am connecting at individual level to different people and developing insights. That is connectivism. When it comes to collaborative learning, there are the learning theory says that based on basically social learning theory, which was mentioned by one of the panelists yesterday, I believe. So what they say, we learn more not in isolation. When we observe others, we interact with others. This is an idea given by Vygotsky, which is called zone of proximal distance. If I am working in a team with each other, the probability of learning or developing competence is much higher. That's how it is. The peer learning, group learning concept has evolved over a period of time. Another way of doing things is basically constructivism. When I know what I want, I will do those things which are meaningful to me and my context. If it is not meaningful and relevant to my context, for me that is information. If you search Google, you get a lot of information. Do you process that information? Definitely not. You may process the wrong information also and get wrong outcome. So if you look at the long-term success of this learning process, you need to integrate all three: social learning theory, collaborative learning theory, connectivist learning theory, with another theory that is called humanistic. Humanistic learning theory was given by Carl Roger, which emphasized on empathy. That says, I will learn when I am understood. My aspiration is understood. I feel understood. If I am not understood, that is an idea used in mentoring and coaching. So if you don't integrate whole of these things and you make people sit together and feed each other with a lot of information, we have limited cognitive capability. We will be overwhelmed by lot of information which is contradicting each other, because these are all perspectives. These are not facts. What I am saying is my perspective. So I am confused and I will vomit those things out, and in the process I am staying with what makes me comfortable. Because if you look at it, you always try to remain in comfort zone, and learning zone, in between there is a fear zone. That's why psychological safety is so important. When you are moving from comfort zone to learning zone, there is a fear zone. I am afraid to take that personal risk. So the leaders and the culture play a significant role in transferring learning from this room to the workplace. Many of those things fail because the culture is not supportive. So for the long-term success of this collaborative learning or any learning, let's look at our culture. Is it psychologically safe? It is not about your claim. Do they believe that it is psychologically safe? And are you giving enough time to reflect, experiment, explore and make mistakes. If you are penalizing for mistakes, we will go by precedents. Many of us suffer from that. It has worked in the past, it will work today, it will work tomorrow, and I don't need to change, organizations don't need to change, and there is a problem. There is a complacency. That happened with Kodak, that happens with Nokia, that happens with Ambassador. There are a lot of examples I can give you. Thank you so much.
See, coming to this, since you talked about principles, in our experience we felt this 1 day, 2 day modules for a change or leadership development doesn't work. So we have slowly moved towards a journey program. At least there are 3 to 4 modules. For example, it's managing self, managing others, managing change, managing business, or some other. And there is a gap in between these modules. And in between there is a breakthrough project which is given. We include the subject matter expert or a department head there. And we also bring an external person who's a coach, who's an enabler. So there's a time, and we start generally with a 270 or something like that, so that there is a IDP developed, and there's a coach along with them for reflection. So there's an input, there is a little bit of reflection, then there is some change, then they go to the next. So over a period, the change happens. So most of the program we have moved towards that aspect, and bringing in an external coach has played a very, very effective way. We have internal coaches, we have trained training coaches internally, certifying them and all those things. That may help at a senior level when we bring some external perspective from an external coach. That gave a lot of self-reflection, openness, the change, a lot of change we could make out. So this has become a part, and it aligns well with the 70-20-10 principle which we talk about.
You want to add on, Dr. Bin?
I was amazed. I was amazed, Artika, because like we were mentioning earlier, that there are so many things which are similar between all of us, like what Dr. Jayakumar was talking about. We do exactly the same with our flagship program called Advait, where, as you said, it's a journey, and there are breaks, and then there is an external coach. So these are some of the best practice that we are doing, and if we are having this platform, such platforms in future as well, where we share all this and we communicate the value that we gain out of it, this is going to, like we said, the business is for the greater good, is going to help us all for the greater good. Yeah, thank you.
We also have programs with business schools, 1 week program. It's good for people who are really, really interested and then wanted to change. Yes, for example, 1 month before or 2 months before, they will send some 15-20 case studies. Okay, each case study 30 pages. Till the date of the program, they will not study. And after sitting in the car towards Lodawala, they will start seeing the in the flight or in the car, they start doing it. And by the time, every time, and they could not fully internalize it. There will be somebody who has in the team would have read the case well. They coast along with them, manage, and during the entire program they'll feel guilty. They'll feel that at least we should go home and read it and try to see the notes, etc. Once they go home, it is packed and it is dusted, gone.
Dr. Panda is silent. He's one of them who creates those case studies.
See, this, to be very honest, that is not limited to corporate world. That's how these schools are also functioning. Students come without preparing the cases. We give time, 15-20 minutes to go through that, and it becomes pedagogy. The whole process of pedagogy and andragogy, I'm digressing a bit, but I must tell you. Andragogy and pedagogy are very different. Andragogy means there is a collective intelligence of the participants which are leveraged to something to emerge. We don't go with prepared learning outcome. We say andragogy is, these are the people, bunch of people I am facilitating. The collective insight of the participants in the class is much more than the facilitator. But at the end of the day, because they don't come prepared, they don't develop perspectives, they don't discuss, it ends up with facilitator talking, and it looks like imposing. So the engagement level goes down. When the engagement level goes down, the learning level goes down. You have finished a training where nobody understood what was the topic. That happens in B school. That is happening. That is the current trend. And everybody does the Google search. Even ChatGPT gives you a solution. And when I ask them, why did you give this solution? They don't have an answer. And ChatGPT gives you much more information than case facts. And मैं बोला आपको ये कहाँ से मिला? They will hide it. See, that is the problem of ChatGPT and all those things in the classroom. Okay, you are creating data to train these engines, right? And you are creating hallucination which really does not exist. Are you not over-prepared for something, for a problem? It is like overthinking. मेरे को कुछ हो गया. Think over it. I'm not against data analytics, AI and all those things. Relying too much and suspending your judgment is problematic. We are suspending our judgment.
Sir, excuse me. Can I just have it's a very important one.
Yeah,
I'm sure people will be fed up with my voice. But I'm just trying to just connect to what you just said, Dr. Abhish Pandya. In some sense, are we saying that we are trying to be too idealistic when we curate a particular journey or a program, wherein when we come to the ground realities, which is completely different. So when we say that we have a case which people should come prepared with when they are coming to the class. On the other hand, all of us, because when you said, almost everybody laughed, that yeah, people don't come prepared for the case studies, and then when they are coming on the way is when they read through the cases as well. And still we are going with that particular approach. So are we saying there is an ideal approach which has and the practical approach is something which is completely different from that?
Let me clarify, and I am Avinash Panda. I'm not Pandya and all those things. So I'm Panda from Odisha. Okay. So second thing, what you are saying, ideal and real, that gap would always be there. A teacher or a facilitator will try to give the best. But what happens? The recipient will decide what the group can absorb. From my experience, I have seen in last 10 years, the ability to absorb things has gone down. In the process, what we have tweaked is basically we are giving smaller cases, caselets, where you give the concept. Second thing, the advantage of leveraging experiences as well as the insights from the theoretical insights is basically how you correlate things. So the debate and discussions is turning towards what works, what does not work. Yeah, I don't have problem in bringing in ChatGPT informed insights, but you must understand the rationale behind using those things. When you don't understand the rationale, your decision, you can't defend the decision. Taking decision is the very easiest thing on earth. Managing consequences is the most difficult one. Are you getting me? So when you are presenting this is the solution, if you have not developed the solution and you are bringing in curated one, you can't defend it. That's my problem in the class. Because if you don't process, then you are not learning anything. You are gathering information. I am saying that we are teaching cases. Whether the case will replicate in the real life, we don't know.
So can I add something? But we know the problem. The facilitator knows the solution also. So how they handle in an MBA class is different as far as adult learning in a leadership academy. As he rightly said, we'll give 15 minutes before to quickly read the case in groups. So definitely there are people who have read, underlined, marker, everything would have come. So they discuss, and within that 15 minutes is sufficient for them to grasp the meat of the case. Yes, the facilitator goes one step ahead. After that is done, he quickly says, let us recap the case, what it is. One fellow tells something, other tells something. So whole the case has come in front of the crowd. Then they get into that. So they manage the thing and get it done. And that's what I use the word. Each participant, though they have not done, they feel guilty. because it's a great opportunity if they got. They feel they didn't purposely miss. They missed because of various things they have missed, but they will have a feeling that yes, let me go back today night itself and sit in the room and read the case once again, or they'll think they'll go to the back and do, but generally it gets procrastinated. But the essence happens there.
Okay, let me add another thing. Suppose you are discussing a lot of things, right? One person has not read. He can't participate. What he will do? He will check WhatsApp, mobile mein. That happened the day before I came here. I was doing a program. And this guy throughout 3 hours did not participate after what? Did he learn anything? He attended the training program. Company is happy, sponsored the person. Did he learn anything? I doubt. So when you focus on the learning process, learning outcome, not on the training, the control goes away from the facilitator to the participant. It is the responsibility of the participant to learn, but creating that ecosystem is with the facilitator and the trainers. Are you creating that ecosystem?
Though we digressed a bit from the topic, but I believe this discussion was important and everyone could relate to it well. So before I open it for the audience to ask questions, I have just one question which I'll ask to each one of you. What is your key takeaway for creating impactful and sustainable collaborative training programs in large organizations? So I'll start with Mr. Jaykumar, please.
For being, if you're specific about collaborative training,
yes.
then you should have a common goal, the common vision, what you wanted to achieve as a overall bigger organization, what you want to achieve. Every organization may have a perspective plan, then a strategic plan, then a budget, and you know where you are, and then get alignment towards that. But what I want to stress more is today, more than the learning, training thing, how do you bring that learning agility? How to learn that, if we can bring it. And second thing is a digital mindset. So we have brought this to as a competency itself in the leadership at a senior level, learning agility and digital mindset. This is brought in as a competency. So things are changing so fast, they should be continuously learning, whether it is through digital, whether it is regular programs, whether it is hybrid. How do you bring in that culture of learning agility and digital mindset in the organization? That is more important.
Got it. Thank you. Dr. Panda?
I fully agree with my co-panelist, Dr. Jaykumar. Learning to learn is the key thing, because you don't know what problems you will face tomorrow. Are your employees ready to process the signals to develop skills on their own? That is most important. You can't spoon feed all these people. So essentially, when a B school graduate is passing out today, and he is become CEO 20 years down the line, and he calls back, I learned these things in B school. What he has learned? He has learned to be agile, adaptive, by developing skills, reading signals, processing those things, and developing skills. So any organization which focuses on sustainability must ask the question, the basic culture. Is it psychologically safe? Is this trust the key parameter? Are you giving time to reflect, experiment, explore, and make mistakes, genuine mistakes, not goof-offs, casual mistakes, genuine mistakes in the process? What are you doing? Third thing, I think, are you focusing on debriefing, what is called after action report? Debriefing essentially, if somebody is attending a training program, they are coming back, do you ask them, did you learn anything? What have you learned? And how do you apply? Debriefing is the most important thing in the learning process. If you are not doing it, these are all activities. So that's what I believe. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, Dr. Bindu.
The key takeaway that I would propagate for this particular aspect of collaboration would be that something that was told to me years ago by my mentor that listen, especially when I completed my studies and I was getting placed in an organization, the one thing that he categorically told me was that, listen, in my organization I don't need any heroes. I don't need any individual who is succeeding. What I want, what I'm looking for are teams who are succeeding. Together we all make it. So that is what I feel the collaboration, the magic of collaboration can do for all of us, which is, see, gone are the days when banking was the first choice for people. Today banking is the, I won't even say second, third, fourth, fifth choice. Now, how do we get back that old glory which our industry had? All of us sitting here, we belong to a generation where banking was aspirational. How do we get back that aspiration? And how do we ensure that the country which is now marching towards becoming a developed economy, which is becoming the third largest economy of the world, how are we going to collectively contribute in that journey? That's something which I would like us to drive.
Thank you for sharing those insights. Now I open the floor for questions from the audience. Excuse me. What I have seen for my experience, employees, they want to experience, they want to share their experiences, as well as they want to gain new experiences. They want to know about others' experience. That is the key, and that is what we were talking about. Sir was talking about the social learning, peer learning, experiential learning. So when we are collaborating, I think that is one of the most important things that we are giving to our employees. From my experience, I would say we have classes, we have the training programs which are specifically for some target group, and we have some programs where we are inviting people from the commercial banks, from across the banking sector, people from the RRBs, people from the even from the microfinance sector. And the feedback when we get after the at the end of the program is that more than from the program, they have gained from the others' experience. What is happening in the other bank? What is happening in the other sector? How MFIs are doing? What is the problem there? What is the problem with the bank? So that is the strength of the collaboration. So what we were talking today about the Gen AI and the experiential learning, that is the experiential learning, I suppose. So I think that is a very good collaboration point that we put.
I think to add to what ma'am said, that's what Dr. Jaykumar sir was also mentioning, that there is huge demand for SB Jain and not IIM Ahmedabad. Look at it. IIM Ahmedabad coming second to SB Jain just because there is a diverse group. And that's what people want.
Yeah, any more questions?
So little bit of Avinash, don't feel bad, please. So this question goes like this: that when we have discussed a lot about lot of things, but there is one elephant in the room, and that is called the faculty competencies. Now, when we are sitting here and L&D and all that, yes, we also have certain faculty competencies which we need to continuously develop, hone up. At one point of time, a long time back, I had a great opportunity to attend a course. Basically, the course was on that case method. It was taken by one professor from Harvard, Dorothy Leonard, and it was actually conducted in Imperial. So different kind of a culture and different kind of things. So one of the things that she told that during the case writing, case method or the case this thing, that the title of the course was The Art of Discussion Leadership. The Art of Discussion Leadership. That I've gone into a class, I've given a case. Now my expectation is they must have read the case. What if they don't read the case? Right? How do I then proceed from there onward? Now this is something that that struck us so much that yes, and that's for a pretty long time. Today we have got a young generation, employees. We have got young generation students. Very little span of attention. Yet at the same time, as faculty, what can we do about it? We need to, we need to pivot. We need to change our strategies. We need to find out something or the other that, okay, if you have not read, come on, let's quickly get on with it, and then how do you, roll it on? So those are some of those new faculty competencies also that come into picture because the times are changing, you see, times are changing. So that's one only, just a comment on that.
You don't have a question, right?
Sir, I would like to answer that.
Sir,
One thing,
Professor
Dr.
Panda.
Dr.
Professor Panda.
Anjan said, don't mind Avinash, there is a history to it. So we both are from the same institute, we are doing PhD together, okay? So that's why I mentioned that, okay.
Sir, I
this,
would like
this
to-
question is directed to Dr. C. Jaikumar. This is regarding the statement of chairman of L&T regarding 90 hour a week. How long you stare at your wife? Does L&T is serious in answering? It is a out of the syllabus question, but if possible, you
When
can.
addressing the elephant.
I forgot it for the last 1 hour.
I would like to just respond from a participant point of view. I was yesterday narrating how we are being asked to go to different management institute, and last week only I attended a program in IMB, Jigni campus. We have been given these case studies beforehand, just 2 days beforehand. We are all having different from verticals we had come from the SBI, and many of them didn't have time to read it. So here, my suggestion would be expect that these people won't read and prepare case studies accordingly. Why give 5-6 pages or even 20 pages case study to read? Why do you expect that this level of participants who are coming, average is 50 or plus, that they would have the patience? Forget about JNG, sir. We don't have patience for 6 days training programs. Nobody has patience for longer time. Already for this session also I am losing patience, honestly speaking. Honestly speaking. So everybody is, why totally segregate JNG? We ourselves have become JNG. So accordingly the faculty have to bring the case studies down so that in 2 pages max it can be contented. It should be like that. We should not have the eagerness to deliver everything in one go. Thank you, sir.
Should I tell you something? My stand on this is basically Indian society or Indian learning community is not ready for case study method. First, it is a wrong method you are using. When Harvard Business School introduced case method, because there was a lawyer in the board, because he was believing and that this is the method that works well in the law firm, it should be done. This is implemented. Our society is very hierarchical. We believe that teacher knows everything. We can't question them. Even teachers are at fault. If somebody questions you, you don't have answer, you believe that it is a loss of face. So we are not open to criticism, feedback and all those things. We know that people don't prepare because self-management is low in Indian society. We go by instruction. So case method does not work. See, partly we are also responsible in B school. We insist that case method is the way to go. But many institutes are not using case method these days, or in addition to case method, they assume that they won't study. They are prepared. They have a backup plan always to fall back on. So people, faculty members are deciding that, but this is the trend. Let's forget that case method won't work. Okay.
Unfortunately, I am the culprit. Shifting the whole discussion outside. You should have another panel for this.
Yeah. But
Sir,
I
sir,
love how.
Sir, don't worry. Somebody higher up will decide on stair tax. It is on the caramel popcorn that has been used. Na? There may be a stair tax. So L&T will get the credit.
I love how the audience is also collaborating with us today to answer the questions. Okay. Any more questions? Yes. There's one at the
Dr.
end. Yeah.
Besides case study methodology,
Dr. Panda, thanks for sharing a very profound, in-depth analysis onto this idea of social learning. I'm here, Dr. Panda.
Okay.
And idea of Hofstede model. Can you throw some light onto what individualistic countries do when we talk about collaboration? We have spoken about India as a collectivist society.
Okay. So as One is individualistic self, one is relational self, and one is collectivistic self, individual relative. So if you see in individual, you go by self-interest. We don't care about the collective interest. I don't sacrifice my individual interest for the collective role. For example, take what an Indian will do. Generally, it is a role-based society. If you read a book by Parikh and Garg, there is a book titled Trishanku Complex. Trishanku Complex in the sense that role, let's say I'm the eldest child. As eldest child, I am expected to take care of my parents. That is society wants. In the process, I will kill my aspiration, I'll kill my interest and taking care of those things. So role kills the individual aspiration. That does not happen in an individualistic society that frequently. That is one thing. So individualistic society essentially compromises collective goal for individual goal. A collectivist society sacrifices individual goal for. I am taking the example from banks. Bankers sacrifice promotion to stay with family. How do you explain that? Rationally, that cannot be explained. You can only explain emotionally. I am sacrificing my personal interest, aspiration for the betterment of my family. I'll take care of those things. I have seen instances of people coming back from the USA to take care of old parents. So that's how it works out. That's why it is easier to create an aspirational goal and collaborate if they are aligned with those things. That is how startups function. The startup founders are passionate about the idea. That's how there is an alignment. Have I?
Yeah, thank you so much, sir.
I'm sure we learned a lot from this discussion, not only about collaboration, but a lot of topics which were touched upon. And to just summarize, collaboration is just not a tool, it is a mindset. And if we embrace it fully, we are not just training teams, we are building a future. So thank you so much for being a kind audience. Thank you, and thank you the guests.
It was truly a fire chat. So thank you to all the participants and panelists.